Design thinking is a process for creative problem solving that can be readily applied to preparing business cases. Design thinking is a process for creative problem solving which seeks to understand users and their needs, challenge assumptions, redefine problems, and create innovative solutions. And this process can be readily adapted to developing business cases. Design thinking is a method and a mindset that starts with an understanding of needs and motivations to define, frame, and solve problems. So the method is a way of doing things, and the mindset is a way of looking at the world. Adapting the design thinking to the development of a business case, the process looks like this. It involves discover, define, ideate, develop, and assess. So let's look at each of these in turn. Discover, the first step, is about understanding community and customer needs. And it involves contextual inquiry, which is about observing and researching. For example, think about or paraphrase what you learn by, if I understood correctly, can you tell me more, what do you mean by, So you can see that just putting that into frames, you're actually trying to think from the point of view of the customer, the user. Now, a diverse group of stakeholders can go deeper and broader than a more homogeneous group, and certainly more than a single person. Next step is about define, narrowing down and framing the problem. And that could be using something like, how might we type questions. This is a more critical or challenging approach to narrow down the problem, and it should be open-ended and not assume a particular solution, so beware the problem-solution thinking. The third element is about ideate, coming up with different solution options to address the problem. Use a diverse group, suggest key stakeholders, both internal and external. Here you can use the yes and approach, so that when an option is suggested, note it down and then ask yes and to extract more ideas. One approach is to use sticky notes with one idea per note and paste them up on the wall. And then once the ideas have been exhausted, cluster those ideas together in like-type groups. But before narrowing down to a short list, establish some evaluation criteria. And I suggest you use things like desired outcomes, safety, mobility, value for money, and so forth. Having shortlisted the options, then develop. In other words, detail the most viable and promising solution options. This would include defining requirements and scope and potentially a preliminary concept design, but it's preferable to define a minimum viable concept and not too many options. And it may require iteration because it's easier to change a few lines on a concept drawing than to be ripping up built infrastructure. And then we assess, which is about analysing the solution options to identify the preferred option, which could include refinements and combination of elements. This involves estimating costs and benefits and assessing risks and determining whether the option is practical, acceptable, and value for money. And usually involves a multi-criteria analysis approach with key stakeholders even better. So design thinking is a process for creative problem solving which seeks to understand users and their needs, challenges assumptions, redefine problems, and create innovative solutions. So it's readily adaptable to developing business cases. See the link below for more details about the 6-week online course, Preparing Effective Business Cases, which covers the 3 phases of strategic context, clarifying the problem, engaging key stakeholders, assessing risks, and outlining the governance, through to solution options, develop and potential options and select a preferred option, and then submit proposal, outline the preferred option and confidently present the business case. Thanks for watching. Check us out at transportfutures.institute. Also check out the other videos on the Your Transport Future YouTube channel and connect with me on LinkedIn